I mean, I knew Zeno had it in him to collapse Senku, but I wasn't actually expecting Senku to get shot this episode. When I realized he was making himself a bulletproof vest, I thought to myself, it's gonna work. I was a little worried for his hands because he was kind of holding the bag. It's like, yeah, he might get some shrapnel. No, it looks like while it did save his life, I wouldn't be surprised if Senku's actually kind of down for the count for a little bit. Maybe even the rest of the core. Like, that could be a wound that's enough to keep him down for the count. This episode was just fantastic. It kind of does the thing and makes me wish more authors would do side stories where you just fully get to see another side's perspective. If you're following my orb videos, I've recently said that about a certain character. In a show like this, I could easily see how I would be so just eyes glued to the screen for 12 episodes watching Zeno build everything up. But I appreciate the fact of getting to see a decent amount anyway. And then how it transitions to the modern day stuff and how they realize that Taiju is indeed a misdirect. And I think what works so brilliantly is he was like a millisecond away from blowing Taiju's head off. Not even an exaggeration. So when that stops happening, it kind of lets your guard drop as a viewer because you're like, okay, if they already came close to shooting one person, even if he realizes that Senku is actually the target, we're probably not going to shoot Senku. Like, when he gets to cover, I'm thinking, well, he's just going to get to cover. It's a brilliantly directed scene, but I gotta be honest, as much as, I believed Zeno would kill Senku, I wasn't expecting Senku to actually get shot. Pew. Wild stuff. Of course, if you want to support my work, see my full thoughts on these crazy Dr. Stone episodes. We got the Patreon, full and cut live reactions available exclusively over there if you're so interested. So, to be honest, when they started showing them first wake up, and then the, opening, I was like, oh man, they're not gonna show us too much of it. And to my surprise, they showed me more than I was expecting. I do think a lot of authors, they don't commit to the bit, which is showing more of these side characters or these side stories. And I'm not saying it necessarily has to be in the main manga or anime, though I have seen plenty of authors do that where they just take a 12-20 chapter detour to show a flashback. And I get that modern audiences aren't always the biggest fan of it, but that's why I'm like, hey, maybe we can do side manga stories, hey, this is the Xeno Chronicles, whatever you want to call it. It's just there's a lot to explore there. But I do appreciate that they hit some of the main points. They showed how this man got his tobacco. They showed how, they all woke up and blah, blah. They hit the main things and, their overall mindsets of things. And it was just such a brilliant, it's interesting to think, had Zeno not been shot down with, a lot of his research and stuff prior to the petrification, I truly think the reveal of, this isn't our enemy, this is someone you know in your past, would be, hold your fire. But because of the, the shift in his mindset before everything happened, he's the type of person who's like, shit, this is really unfortunate. Senku and myself combined together would do amazing things. The issue is that Senku's not going to be the type of person who will agree with my vision. And in doing so, becomes a threat. Take the shot. I mean, I'm not going to be like, damn, Zeno disappointed me. I can't believe he did that. I believe he would do that. I'm more shocked that the shot connected than I am that the shot was took, you know what I mean? The thing is I still firmly believe they have to work together at some point. We have to defeat him first, obviously. But I truly think there will, it could be the artifact itself, the device that ultimately, petrifies everyone. While it is drained, that type of science could be enough to bring them together as a kind of enemy of my enemy is my friend. We know Y-Man, when Y-Man petrified the world, it felt more like the reason that happened at a global scale versus the little bits and pieces that Y-Man was doing for a while was because the Americans were very, very close to understanding and having a breakthrough with petrification. So if Senku and him start doing that again, it's possible Y-Man, could start doing global petrification again, or, the leg. Depends on if it's charged up there as well. We don't know. There's a lot of unknown variables. At the end of the day, whether Zeno's in a cell working with us could be a possibility. I mean, Zeno seems like he's the type of guy who would rather keep his hands busy than just sit in a cell and not do anything, like, I won't help my enemy. Like, I'm not saying they're necessarily going to be holding hands, singing Kumbaya, and saying, well, you did shoot me, but we're friends now. I mean, Senku might let bygones be bygones. I'm not saying it's impossible, but at the same time, we might imprison a brilliant mind, and he helps us with research. That's also entirely possible. I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's possible. So there's a lot of options. I think one of the best parts of the episode that I appreciate is how this girl went from very much gun-ho, I'm going to point out their leader, to actually not wanting to do that. Because at the end of the day, they've treated her with nothing but kindness. And over the course of, like, just seeing, like, it's, you know, your average person isn't a murderer. Like, there's been enough time from when humans always beat each other with clubs over each other's heads to now that it's we know it's morally acceptable or not. Not saying people can't do it, as seen by the gunshot, but your average person, yeah, they're gonna feel something when you realize that these aren't bad people. These are people that are probably just like you or me. So her freezing and not wanting to point it out was really nice, and I appreciate how she then says Senku so they can, relay the message and everything, but still, crazy good stuff. Like, I think the first, handful of episodes, 3-4-ish episodes of this season of Dr. Stone were really good. I wasn't disappointed in the slightest. But ever since we properly have been introduced to Zeno and just everything that we're seeing, it's just been on a different level. Like, I'm gonna be so sad when the first part wraps up and we have to wait for the next part, because they're on a freaking roll right now, and I think it's just the most exhilarating, the most exciting, and to be honest, the most worrisome Dr. Stone has been, because I wasn't sure what he was making at first. I thought it was going to be like a smoke bomb, and I was like, oh shit, he's making a bulletproof vest. But I was like, there's no way it's going to be quite enough. Like, there's going to be some damage, and we don't know what that damage looks like. It might just be some cuts. The issue is he only going to take one shot? Like, he's probably confident in his shot. I mean, it did connect exactly where he expected him to be. But at the same time, I don't know. It's worrisome in all the right ways, but it's wild how I didn't see the shot connecting coming until it was too late, because they baited me with Taiju getting his head blasted only for him to let off the trigger. Great shit. You let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think of this episode, especially if you're a source reader? How are you liking the adaptation? Do let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. So today we got Extras Ghoul, Jeff, Don, Chemist, Ricardo Pelego, Restart Coon, Squealeton, Morrud, Shadow Cyber Demon, Wujan, Brandon Logren, and we also have Fate. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Have a good one.